The holographic display flickered in the dimly lit command center as Hazel watched the Galactic Council's verdict scroll across the screen. Her jaw tightened, fingers drumming against the console with barely contained fury. Banishment, she muttered, the word tasting like ash in her mouth. They actually voted to banish us. Leo stood beside her, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. Where Hazel burned with righteous anger, he had already moved past rage into something far more dangerous: cold, calculated determination. Effective immediately, he read aloud, his voice steady. Earth and all human colonies are hereby expelled from Galactic Council space. All trade agreements nullified. All diplomatic channels severed. Humans have 30 standard cycles to vacate Council territory. 30 cycles. Hazel laughed bitterly. How generous of them. The vote had been centuries in the making. The Council, that grand alliance of 12 elder species who had ruled the galaxy for millennia, had finally tired of humanity's reckless expansion and dangerous ambition. The Valorians claimed humans bred too quickly. The Kesh said humans asked too many questions. The ancient Orvithy simply declared that humanity disturbed the natural order. What truly frightened them, Hazel knew, was that humans had gone from primitive spacecraft to quantum drives in less than 200 years. In the cosmic blink of an eye, humanity had spread across 100 systems, established thriving colonies, and developed technology that rivaled species who had been starfaring for 10,000 years. They're afraid of us, Leo said, as if reading her thoughts. This isn't punishment, it's preemptive surrender. Then why does it feel like we lost? Because we're still thinking like we need their approval. Leo turned to face her fully, and for the first time that day, she saw ghosts of a smile on his lips. Hazel, what if we just left? That's what they want. No, they want us to slink away defeated, to scatter to the edges of known space and fade into obscurity. His eyes gleamed with something wild and brilliant. I'm talking about something else entirely. Within hours, Leo had called an emergency session with the Earth Federation Council. Hazel stood beside him as he addressed the assembled representatives via quantum link leaders from Earth, Mars, Europa, Titan, and dozens of colony worlds across human space. The Galactic Council has made their decision. Leo began. They've chosen to see humanity as a threat rather than an ally. They've chosen isolation over cooperation. So I propose we give them exactly what they want: our absence. Murmurs rippled through the virtual assembly. But we don't slink away, he continued, his voice rising. We don't scatter. We move forward. Together. We've been constrained by Council space, by their trade routes, by their outdated rules about what regions we could settle and which technologies we could develop. Well, those constraints just evaporated. Hazel stepped forward, pulling up a star chart that painted the room in blue light. There's a whole galaxy beyond Council space. Entire spiral arms they've deemed dangerous or not worth the effort. The Perseus Arm, the Outer Rim, the Sagittarius Dwarf Galaxy. You're proposing we leave known space entirely? Ambassador Thorne from Mars asked, his skepticism clear. I'm proposing we stop limiting ourselves to space others have already claimed, Hazel replied. Humans have always been explorers. We crossed oceans in wooden boats. We went to the moon with computers less powerful than a modern toaster. We built the first quantum drives using math the Council said was theoretically impossible. Why would we stop now? The vote passed with near unanimity. Humanity would leave Council space, but on their own terms. The exodus began within days. It wasn't a retreat. It was a coordinated expansion on a scale the galaxy had never witnessed. Colony ships launched by the thousands, each headed for uncharted regions. Manufacturing hubs relocated to the outer territories. Research stations pushed into the void between spiral arms. The Council watched with what they assumed was satisfaction. The troublesome humans were leaving, just as ordered. They didn't realize their mistake until it was too late. 50 years after the banishment, a Valorian scout ship ventured beyond the traditional borders, curious about rumors of human activity. What they found left their commander speechless. Where there had been empty space, humans had built a network of stations that made Council infrastructure look primitive. Where there had been nebulae too dense for navigation, humans had carved out highways using gravity manipulation technology. Where there had been uninhabitable systems, humans had terraformed worlds and constructed thriving cities. But most shocking was what the Valorian scout discovered at the Perseus Arm, the new Terran Alliance, a confederation of 500 human worlds, united under a banner that reads simply, "We go further." By the time the Council realized what had happened, humanity had expanded into regions they'd never dreamed of reaching. Human trade networks bypassed Council space entirely. Human technology had leapt forward without the constraints of Council oversight. And human exploration had unlocked resources and knowledge that made them entirely self-sufficient. Hazel stood on the observation deck of Frontier Station 1, watching ships come and go from 100 different systems. Leo joined her, now graying at the temples, but still carrying that same fierce determination. "The Council sent another diplomatic overture today," he said. "They want to renegotiate terms of our relationship." Hazel smiled. "What did you tell them?" "That we're busy. Maybe in another century or two. Once we've finished mapping the Andromeda approaches." She laughed, the sound echoing in the vast chamber. Beyond the viewport, a colony ship powered up its engines, bound for a star system whose name existed only in human databases. The Council had voted to banish Earth, expecting humanity to fade away. Instead, they'd freed humanity to become something the galaxy had never seen: a species unbound by ancient rules, unlimited by others' fears, answerable only to their own endless curiosity and unstoppable drive to explore. Humans hadn't waited to be told twice. They'd simply said goodbye and gone somewhere better. And they had never looked back. The end.